The Animal Humane Society. Oh, he's cute. This week, meet Rocco. He is a 4-year-old bulldog looking for an active home that can keep the guy busy. He enjoys playing with his new toys and does well walking on a leash. He also loves greeting new people.
You're watching Fox 9 all day.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on All Day. I'm Tim Blotz. I want to start right away with ride sharing because the new Minneapolis ordinance to raise the wages of rideshare drivers will likely have ripple effects well beyond the city, especially if Uber and Lyft stop their businesses here, right? That's why state lawmakers are now stepping in. Our Bill Keller has more on how the legislature is trying to get a handle on this issue before it's too late.
Minnesota Republicans rarely agree with Governor Walz on really anything, but when it comes to stopping Uber and Lyft from leaving the market, well, both sides are pretty much on the same page. While the fare increase passed by the Minneapolis City Council may be good for drivers, the governor and some state lawmakers agree it is bad for Minnesota. As for how to fix the problem, that's where
The Animal Humane Society. Oh, he's cute. This week, meet Rocco. He is a 4-year-old bulldog looking for an active home that can keep the guy busy. He enjoys playing with his new toys and does well walking on a leash. He also loves greeting new people.
You're watching Fox 9 all day.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on All Day. I'm Tim Blotz. I want to start right away with ride sharing because the new Minneapolis ordinance to raise the wages of rideshare drivers will likely have ripple effects well beyond the city, especially if Uber and Lyft stop their businesses here, right? That's why state lawmakers are now stepping in. Our Bill Keller has more on how the legislature is trying to get a handle on this issue before it's too late.
Minnesota Republicans rarely agree with Governor Walz on really anything, but when it comes to stopping Uber and Lyft from leaving the market, well, both sides are pretty much on the same page. While the fare increase passed by the Minneapolis City Council may be good for drivers, the governor and some state lawmakers agree it is bad for Minnesota. As for how to fix the problem, that's where they differ. Republican lawmakers introduced a bill yesterday that would block cities or counties.
This is an all-day live alert.
Well, hi there, everyone. Welcome to this Fox 9 Live Alert. I'm Tim Blotz. We're going to take you out to Brooklyn Park, where in just a bit, Governor Tim Walz will host a roundtable discussion on high-demand jobs. Now, this all revolves what's called the Drive for 5 Workforce Fund. This is a new effort to train more Minnesotans for jobs in 5 different categories that really need workers, just not now, but heading into the future. And their technology, their trades, caring professionals, manufacturing, and the last is education. And as a part of the roundtable, the governor will be announcing the recipients of $20 million in funds for training. Now, joining the governor will be the
Commissioner
Department
Verlick, thank you to
of
all of you
Employment
being
and
here.
Economic Development
President Bodine,
Commissioner,
thank you for having us
Mark
back.
Verlick. They're sitting down right now, and I'm going to let you in on a little production background here. Oftentimes at these roundtables, there's one microphone, and they have to kind of move it from speaker to speaker. So give us some time in between the speakers to move things around, and you'll be able to hear a lot better. So let's go to the governor right now.
And as they expand from everything of the Winnebagos we all know about to boats, thinking about electrification of their vehicles and all the products that get folks outside. What they know is, and what the group that's sitting here knows is that, look, our economy is strong. Minnesota's a good place to live, but if you talk to every single company or HR managers, worker shortage is a big issue. Trying to find a workforce that's there. Doing things to attract the workforce is one of the things that we're trying to do, whether it's affordable college education, whether it is accessibility to child care, but it's also, as Matt said, this drive for 5 of being focused on what we're going to do. And the idea is to be good partners in this. And I'm going to leave the bulk of the time here when you hear from Deputy Commissioner Majors, who's running this program, and congratulate him for these grant recipients to talk a little bit about what are they doing, what are they going to do with some of this this grant money that we're putting towards it, and the outcome is a better skilled, well-trained workforce for Minnesota to continue to grow the economy. And all of those Drive for 5 jobs offer real livable wages for Minnesotans. So this is an exciting time. We got it in place. I want to thank the legislature for funding this last year, and for the folks who are really going to make this happen. So this is an exciting story. It's one I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and I'll turn it to the person who's responsible for actually making it happen. Deputy Commissioner Majors, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Governor. Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to all the grant recipients. This has been a really exciting time for us to kind of roll out this new initiative, the Drive for 5 initiative, to start addressing some of our labor shortages here in Minnesota. Today is a big day. You know, our team's been working really hard for the last 12 months on this initiative, and I just want to acknowledge a few team members real quickly. First, I want to thank Commissioner Verlick for his support and all that he does for our grant making process. I want to thank Director Akapo for her leadership in the employment training programs. And I really want to thank Ann Myers, who's our Adult Career Pathways Director, her team with Vanessa Roman, who is also here, and the rest of the team at DEEP for actually rolling these grants out. And then finally, I want to thank the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor for making this a great opportunity to put more Minnesotans into high growth industries. So we have a great panel here with us today, and I want to get started. I'm going to stop talking and let them do all the talking. So first of all, I want to go to President. I knew you as Dean. President Bodine, Hennepin Technical Colleges. We're about to see one of your education labs in a few minutes, but can you tell us why is this so important and how these dollars can help put more Minnesotans into the manufacturing world?
So thank you, and I just wanted to start off by saying on behalf of Minnesota State College and University, thank you for the opportunity for the Drive for 5 grants and really all of your support for workforce initiatives. So as the largest provider of workforce education in the state, and we're very proud of that, 62% of our students come from underserved populations and low-income families. So this funding directly will help support us to develop and launch an academy for uniquely abled adults. And we will be able to launch this in the metro area. So the Uniquely Abled Project, which is a national organization, they have 16 of these academies throughout the United States. And Minnesota is really fortunate because there is an academy at South Central College, and now we are going to open one and serve the metro area. And so in this program, it's a short-term program, and it's for adults with level 1 autism. So they'll come to the campus and they will have hands-on education to become a CNC machine operator. And in 10 weeks, so they'll get technical training, they'll get 2 industry certifications, they'll get college credit, and then we'll also have extra supports on campus. And then working with our business and industry partners, they'll be on a paid internship or work-based experience. And so through this, we're really excited. We couldn't have dreamed to have this academy without our partners, so I do need to take a minute to thank them. So Deed Vocational Rehabilitation Services, the Lionsgate Academy, the Franklin Center, the Metro Manufacturing Collective, and all the business and industry partners who have told us they will hire our participants in this program and that they're willing to provide paid work-based experience for our participants. So thank you.
That's great. Sounds really exciting. And thank you for all that you're doing. I'm going to turn to Steve Kalina, our President and CEO of Minnesota Precision Manufacturing Association.
All right, we're having some camera difficulties there right now. Looks like we're starting to get the signal back, but we're watching right now a live roundtable.
Hesitancy to invest in apprenticeships
job
and
creation, workforce training grants that they are providing called Drive for Five
so in general,
workforce funds. Let's listen in.
This is the time to now invest in that workforce. So we are still facing a significant skilled workforce challenge, especially with retirements, a lot of the top skilled talent leaving the industry. So overall, the industry is still healthy, it's still strong, it's still busy. We just have to keep the foot on the pedal, the gas pedal, to keep moving forward and keep bringing more skilled talent in.
Thanks for that. And thanks for the work that you're doing. Manufacturing is obviously a huge industry for Minnesota. And thanks for all your hard work around that.
Thank you.
Next, I want to invite Antonio Cardona, Vice President of Career Readiness at Project for Pride Living. Vice President, it's good to see you, as always. As you know, healthcare is
It's great to be here. The work that Project for Pride and Living has done over the last 50 years or so has largely kind of rooted in healthcare work. Generally, over 50% of our pathways every year are really in that space. And so, I think as we think about ourselves as largely an affordable housing developer, having a good, stable place to live, having good quality jobs, those are the two primary things that folks need to kind of elevate out of poverty. I think the importance here for us is really kind of a post-pandemic effect of a lot of folks retiring, leaving the industry, and how do we move into a space where there's more on-the-job training? How are we really supporting folks? Because I think as we think about, not just here in Minnesota, but nationally, if we're looking at kind of employers as they recruit, a lot of times folks look for, you have a 4-year degree. If you look at information of like who comes in as a freshman, compared to who ends with a 4-year degree, that pipeline only works for 24% of the population. So you're already at a deficit when you're thinking about who we're trying to pipeline into the system. And so I think at PPL, this really helps us move into the space of seeing employers as co-developers of talent, not just consumers of talent. And so this sort of public-private partnership for us is really critical.
Yeah, I really love that idea of having the employers there as co-partners in developing these programs, because and that work-based learning component is so critical for helping people develop.
Students in traditional public school students, so allowing to venture out and use our adult education pathways and reach adults in our community as well has been a huge benefit for us. So like communities across the state, we see shortages in education as well. Positions that in the past that we would have seen many applicants for, from administration through teaching, counseling, social work, even down into our para and nursing realm, we see little to no applicants at this point. We have actually had some vacancies just continue to be vacant because we've had no applicants. And salary doesn't seem to be a determination in sometimes those being filled. It has to do with experience. So in the past, we've always waited for people to apply. This allows us to be able to go out and recruit people and train people and get them into that. We need to invest. We know the people exist there, the people exist in Faribault, and we need to elevate them up to the roles that they need, looking at that $25 an hour plus for that sustainable, livable wage for them. So that is something that is absolutely critical. You also ask about the equity and the diversity piece of this. The little known fact is that Faribault Public Schools are incredibly diverse. 61% of our students are non-white. I'm going to say that again, 61% of our students are students of color, but 3% of our licensed staff are people of color. So for us to be able to have this focus to tap into our diversity within our community and be able to elevate those people and say, we want you in these positions, we need you in these positions, and we're going to pay and educate you and work you into these positions is really something that is a game changer for a community like Faribault.
Yeah, thanks, Superintendent. That's so key. You know, when students see folks that look like them leading them, it plays a big role in their mindset and how they move forward, and not in education, but also in jobs and also in providing services as well. So thank you. Appreciate that commitment. I want to turn this way. Let me go there. And I think you're getting your steps in. To Tina Juster, Executive Director for Rural Minnesota Concentrated Employment Programs. Thanks for coming all the way down here today. RUSEP has a history of supporting trades in our region of Minnesota. Can you tell us more about that and what you're seeing in terms of trades in your region? And then second is, how are you partnering with the trades, our partners in the construction industry?
Yeah, again, thanks for allowing me to be coming down here. Thank you for the grant. It's going to be great work we're doing. We, have been connecting with educators and employers for decades now. The partnership piece that's coming along with the Drive for 5 is just going to make it all just kind of piece better a little bit quicker. Right now we're seeing a lot of individuals going into trades such as CDLs, welders, linemen, heavy equipment operators. We're partnering with CLC out of Brainerd, M-States, and with Staples in Wadena to already get these trades out there. Last year we supported over 117 individuals to get back into the trades. Talking with our regional analyst, we're short 16,000 tradespeople in Northwest Minnesota. So that's a lot of catch up to do by 2030. So we're picking at it. So with the Drive for 5, we're already establishing those partnerships. Like you're all talking about, don't wait till they're done with school or the last month of school to make the connection. Through our Drive for 5 proposal, we're connecting with employers right now. So as soon as that person comes in, sits across the table from us and says, I think I want to be, we're saying, go talk to these people. They're looking for you, and let's start with some mentorship, maybe some just local on-site development so they know what they're getting into. We want to make sure those connections are strong long before they walk across and get their diploma. So that's a big part of the partnerships that we're involved in right now. It's all about making sure that we're working with those people from the very beginning with participants and looking at what are the things that are holding you back. And again, through the Drive for 5, we're looking at things like, how's your housing? How's your transportation? These things always seem to happen once you have the plan in place, then things start to crumble. So we're excited to help people through all those barriers and then get to the end to that self-sustaining job.
Oh, that's great. And I appreciate you acknowledging the need for case management services as well as those other, I won't call ancillary, but those other services that people need in order to be successful in training. Those are very key pieces. Hey, Jeff.
Good to see you, Deputy Commissioner.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. So we have Jeff Tolleson, President and CEO of Minnesota Tech Association. So Jeff, what are the tech employment trends you're seeing in Minnesota, and how does that compare to nationally?
Well, thankfully, we're not like the rest of the country right now, where we're seeing massive tech layoffs. just reported on CNBC a couple days ago, more than 50,000 just in the first 2.5 months of this year, on top of nearly 300,000 tech jobs lost across the country. We're fortunate in Minnesota, we don't have a lot of true tech producers. We're more of a tech-enabled economy. And we have a lot of industry leaders in insurance and finance and agriculture and retail that rely on technology to fuel their increasingly tech-enabled business models. So it requires technologists for sure, but we've not seen that level of layoffs. Have we seen a tapping of the brakes on hiring? For sure. Just one example, we track the number of IT job postings every month. Last month there was 5,700 unique IT job postings in Minnesota for software developers, help desk technicians, so forth. It's down from 16,000 in May of 2022, so it's not as rapid of a pace, but there is still that demand. So what we're looking forward to doing with this grant funding is really hitting both the supply and demand side of the skills gap. We're going to be working with boot camps and those that are skilling up talent to make sure that they're training individuals on the in-demand skills, many of these being AI enabled. For example, if you're a software developer today and you don't use GitHub Copilot to help you write code, you're going to be way behind in terms of your productivity and efficiency. But it's not just the supply side. We have to work with employers on the demand side. Hire differently, think differently of how are they going to invest differently in the talent that they're bringing on board to make sure that they're successful, they're retained, particularly as we look at bringing in more from underrepresented communities. So we're excited about bringing both sides of the equation together and making sure that all Minnesotans have access to the tech talent they need for the decade to come.
Great, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, getting the employers involved, kind of going. How do we get employers excited about Drive for 5? And it's particularly in the manufacturing industry. And then the second is not only employers and bringing them into the program conversation, but how do we get more Minnesotans? I mean, we stand up these programs; these are great investment. But then we have to convince folks and say, all right, these are great opportunities. So can you talk a little bit more how you're going to use this funding to kind of bring more attention to the manufacturing industry and get people kind of excited?
On behalf of the manufacturing industry, we're really excited to partner with the state of Minnesota and indeed on this Drive for 5 program. I mean, we've been doing. In fact, MPMA has been around for 70 years, and we've got a magazine that's been around for that long. And I was paging through one of the magazines from the 1960s the other day, and I saw a flyer about workforce development and how we really need to work on that. And so 70 years in, we're still working on it. But we've been building up that momentum for years, not only with the manufacturers but with the educators, the Minnesota state system. But it's been kind of piece by piece. To be honest, some of it's been in silos, and I'm excited to meet with Governor Walz on Thursday about the GWDB and how we're going to start working a little bit more collaboratively across the state. So manufacturers are excited and ready, but most of our manufacturers in Minnesota, 80% of them are 50 employees or less. 50 employees or less. So most of them don't have those resources to develop their own training programs, to create apprenticeships, things like that, to do extensive partnerships with the schools. And so that's where we're coming in, is how do we help bridge that gap between what the manufacturers are able to do and what the resources we have in the state, and then also bring that awareness to students. The dual training pipeline grant is a great resource, and it's geared towards manufacturers, geared towards employers, but why not use that as a recruiting tool for students and parents who can see that's a great opportunity to cost effectively pursue a college education. And so making sure those resources are visible and bring awareness to the community, young people, educators, and then make sure that the manufacturers are aware of those as well, and then bridge those gaps, bring the two together. So manufacturers are excited and ready. We're looking for that talent. We need that talent. We saw during COVID, obviously, a struggle for U.S. manufacturing to keep up with demand. With the labor shortage, it's only going to get more challenging. So we're excited for the things we've been primed and ready to do, and Drive for 5 is going to allow us to do. So thank you guys for the opportunity.
Do you all have questions?
Well, I'm going to thank everybody. I don't know about, I'm hoping that our viewers, our listeners, the readers, excited about what the team is doing, that this is an all hands on deck across Minnesota. Our economy's strong, but this issue of shortage of workforce, trained workforce, and then starting to think about, and I think about this as a parent, about steering our children into these high-paying, livable wage jobs. And I think one of the best-kept secrets to Drive for Five on a lot of this is I think healthcare. So that's out there, and we're trying to work on it. But from manufacturing and these other ones, it's really something. I know in Faribault, I don't know, even Minnesotans know this, we're the glass capital of the world, basically. And every single fuel pump for the advanced fighter jets is made in Faribault, Minnesota. Jones Metal, the battery submarines. This is true all across. You start to hear these stories about this high-tech precision manufacturing and needing the skill set. And again, a lot of these folks are aging out, retiring, and we need to start re-inspiring them. But I'll have to tell you, Steve is right. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're being more deliberate, more focused, putting our resources in and starting to think about, as Jeff said, I think about him talking about tech and where you need to be. We did the state's hiring fair down at the Cedar Street Armory, and all of our agencies were there, and it was a lot of people down there. But Minute, our tech group, had a line going all the way around the building of folks, and we're trying to hire them best we can. Now, one of the things the state of Minnesota did was, listening to all of you and the skill sets they're getting in high school and the certificates and things, we removed our 4-year degree requirement from a lot of things, and we're still seeing the talent coming, and I know that's where you're focusing. Certainly there's going to be some that continue to need that, but just smart. And I'll give a final shout out to our preparation at our high schools especially. Next week I'll be going down to Owatonna to deliver the State of the State speech in Owatonna High School. That's not by luck or chance. We're going there because of this very work that's happening tied in with this. You walk in there and you will see high-tech manufacturing happen. You will see commercial kitchens for chefs and folks working in hospitality, and you'll see a training room for CNA, certified nursing assistants, that the Mayo Clinic has sponsored, that our high school students are not only walking across stage at graduation, they're walking across stage with a CNA and a placement already in a high-paying job. Those are things that we're starting to think about, make for quality of life. And I would just end with, chip to the commissioner, we'll take some questions. This idea of making sure, holistically, we're making sure for our employers that there's housing, there's child care, affordability of the training they're getting. These grants coupled together, bringing people into that space. There is careers in Minnesota for people, and we are advertising now in 22 states, encouraging people to come to this state and find this type of support to fill those jobs. So appreciate all of you. Congratulations on the grants. I can tell you this, for Minnesotans to know, you will get your money back tenfold with these investments that we'll see.
This is an all-day live alert.
The Animal Humane Society. Oh, he's cute. This week, meet Rocco. He is a 4-year-old bulldog looking